I'm your host, Marcus. Here's my co host, Mason. And you are tuning in to Between the Lines, our weekly college football betting show. We are going to be going through all the lines that you need to know about, and the lines that we feel good about this week, going into week 3. Mason, how you doing today, buddy? Happy Thursday to you. As this will be airing on Thursday, we're recording a little bit early, um, but nonetheless, I'm ready to talk some lines. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. We just got done recording our preview of week 3, and we went over our top 25 after week 2. So I'll invite people to go back and take a look at those to see kind of where we have teams, see kind of what sort of feelers we have on these teams. And, but during that preview, we kind of realized you kind of saw it from a mile away, but this isn't a very good week of games. It's just not very competitive. There are a lot of really good teams playing really bad opponents. There's just a ton of that. So I feel pretty good about my picks. I have a ton of picks this week. I only had 6 last week, and I felt like, I could probably just squeeze a few more out if I just try a little bit harder. Go that extra step for you guys. So that's what I did this week, and I hope it pans out. I hope I win you all some money. So far, we've got a pretty good record going on. So we are definitely positive, and I hope we can continue this streak. And let's win some money together, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So last week, I know I went 3-3 and ended up breaking even on my money. What was your record last week, Mason?
I was 4-2. Yeah.
4-2, another winning week. So, um, Mason, that puts you at 9-4 for the year, right? And I think it puts me at 6-6. So we've got about and is that correct? 9-4? I think that's
Yeah, I'm at
correct.
9-4. Right.
Yeah, I've got it all documented. I just don't have it in front of me. And obviously, it's documented on air as we did this on the show for you guys the last couple weeks. But we have changed. We finally found the name of our show. When you do something like this, it's kind of like back in the day. I was a deer hunter back in the day. I don't go as much as I used to, but when I'd build a stand, me and my buddy, Nathan, shout out Nathan. I ain't even talked to Nathan in forever, but uh, we would build a deer stand, and we had names for all our deer stands, but we never forced the name. Sometime it'd take 2-3 weeks to figure out what the name is. But I'd always tell Nathan, "Don't worry, a name will come. A name will come, and we'll have a name for that stand, and it'll mean something, and you'll remember it." Between the lines hit me right between the eyes this week. Uh, and I was just like, poof, epiphany, brain smoke coming out of my ears. That's it. That's it. That's the name. And I texted Mason immediately, and we both agreed. So for now and forevermore, the college football betting show produced by First and Long weekly will be called Between the Lines. And what we're trying to do is read between the actual lines that Vegas sets every week and set you up with winning money. We are over 500 for the year, so that puts us 15 and 15 and 10 for the year. That's damn good as far as
Pretty
betting
good.
spreads. That's pretty damn good, folks. And Mason has had some awesome bets. I'd say my bet of the year was betting on Duke. Clearly for me, that was the bet of the year. And I'm still waiting on my flowers from YouTube for betting that one. I thought somebody'd send me some flowers over that one. I guess not. I'll have to keep waiting. But let's get into these lines, man. What I don't have every single one of mine written down, but I'm going to write them down as we go. Do you got one off the top here? And I'll go ahead and write down a couple of my lines here.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I'm kind of skipping Thursday and Friday. Just looking at it, Navy and Memphis on Thursday. Guys, I'll just be honest with you. I don't have a freaking pulse on every single game or every single team. Like I just don't. Like I'm a casual college football fan. Not a casual. I shouldn't say that. I'm less than a college football reporter. So I'm not like I don't have any obligation to just know every single freaking team here.
If you want a
Yeah.
reporter, take your ass to ESPN, folks. This
Yeah.
is for the people, by the people. If you want some of that, half melted bowl of vanilla ice cream bullshit, you can go to ESPN. But if you want
Well,
some real college football takes, you're in the right spot.
well, and this is a betting show specifically. This part, this show is designed for bettors, for people who enjoy the spread, or maybe you just want to know a little bit more about a team and kind of where we are on their team, and but ultimately, in comparison to some of these ESPN reporters, I bet I have a better record than a lot of them, honestly. So, if you put
Yeah.
my record against Desmond Howard, I'm probably a little bit better than him. So,
Yeah. Well, and we have an advantage. ESPN is scared to give you a take on a bet. You know why?
right,
Because they have agreements with Penn Entertainment that's a gambling company.
yeah,
Okay? So they have regulations that they have to go by. We can give you our takes and just tell you if you're feeling it, all right, you're feeling us, you're feeling this vibe that we're putting down, you're feeling that 15-10 number that we've put out. It's on you. It's your money. You bet it if you want to, but we're winning money here. So if you want to jump on the boat, come on with us. Let's do it.
that's right. So, with that being said, I'm not going to just give you guys a bet on a team that I don't know anything about. So, a lot of my bets are on top 25 teams because those are the ones that get the most of my attention.
Yep.
Um, it's just natural, right? So, anyways, Thursday and Friday, I don't really have a really good beat on any of these teams. Even Maryland, like I thought I knew what they were until last week. So, I'm going to skip through that. I mentioned in the last show that Georgia Southern could sneak up and get Wisconsin. I'm not confident enough in that. I really want to take Georgia Southern in the 19 points, but I have so many freaking picks this week to get to that if I'm not like really sure about it, I'm just going to leave it off. So I'm going to hop to the next game here on Bet Now at 12:05. You got Florida State and Boston College. It's listed here at 26. I got it yesterday at 25 and a half. So if there's a 25 and a half floating around, I'd go ahead and take that. But I've got Florida State covering the 25 and a half, really 26 too. So that's a pretty easy grab for me starting off. Do you have a lean on that game, Mark, before I move on?
Well, I know Florida State's going to win. By how much, I don't know. But honestly, I like that bet too because Boston College is terrible, man.
Yeah.
Um, they're like really, really, really bad, and a bunch of freaks up there too. Um, you can do your own research on that part, but yeah, I like that pick. Why would they not smoke them 35-0 at least?
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe not to 0, but or 42-7. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Um, I say 42-7, and the over under is 49.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, I don't know where the 26 comes from. I don't really see that. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I put you down at 25.5 though, since you got it earlier this week. And I did the same thing with me in Tennessee and Washington since I locked those in earlier this week.
Okay. And then I've got the very next game here, Wake Forest over Old Dominion by 14 points. I think that's a pretty easy one, you know, to go out and get. Wake Forest looked pretty good last week. They kind of surprised me. They actually cost me a game last week. So, I feel pretty good about this. Old Dominion's not that great. They beat, who was it, like New Hampshire last week or somebody?
Wasn't it? No, it wasn't. Virginia Tech beat Old Dominion.
I looked it up. I can't remember now. I feel pretty good about this, anyways. I think Wake Forest can go out there and hang a pretty solid number on Old Dominion. I don't know. I just feel good about this. Given what they did to Vanderbilt, I think they'll be able to do it. moving on, my next play is Penn State over Illinois, and they're favored by 14.5. I've got Penn State going to the playoffs this year. I think that they're getting better each week, right? Illinois is not the same Illinois team from last year, so don't think that this is really going to be a very close game. I really don't think it will be. So it's a noon kickoff. Um, there's not going to be a whole lot of life in that stadium there in Illinois, and I just think Penn State's going to roll them. This should easily be a 21-point win for them, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that. You had FSU and Penn State. What you had? Did you take Wake Forest in that one?
Yeah,
Minus
Wake
14?
Forest minus 14. Yep.
Wait, I'm just writing these down to make sure I got them. Okay. You want me to pop a few out real quick, and then we'll keep going, or what you think?
I was waiting on you, man. So if you got a few ready in the chamber, go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and break the seal on this game right here. That's also at 12:05. I'm gonna go ahead and break the seal on the Kansas State at Missouri. Kansas State is a 5-point favorite, and I'm taking Kansas State -5. I hated what I saw from Missouri last week. I don't like this offense that Missouri is running right now. If they have a chance, Brady Cook's going to have to be on his game. Luther Burden's going to have to be on his game. Let me pause this for a second. I really like Will Howard in this one. I like that offensive line from Kansas State. I was a little worried when they lost Deuce Vaughn last year, lost him to the Dallas Cowboys, but I feel like they really picked up where they left off. So I like Kansas State to cover this -5. Another one that I like, and I've already talked about it, so I won't spend a ton of time on it. Washington over Michigan State. All the stuff that's happened with Michigan State. I like Washington to cover just about any spread here. I got it at -16. Let's go look over here and see. I can't remember what time that game is at.
It's a later game. It's a little bit later down the list.
Let's see. Washington.
5:05. And it's at 16 right now.
Okay, so it stayed at 16 so far. That's what I locked it in at the other day whenever I heard the news. So for reasons I've already explained and what's going on at Michigan State, I'm taking Washington -16. I don't think Michigan State's going to try to rally around their coach that's been suspended on this stuff. I don't think that there was a great culture going on at Michigan State anyway. So I like Washington and those awesome receivers and Michael Penix to thrash Michigan State pretty good. And another one that I've already spoke about a little bit was Tennessee -7. And that number is actually shrunk, so you can go get that at 6.5. And I may go bet that one again. I didn't put a ton of money on it, but I just like Tennessee pretty much anywhere. I guess realistically, 17 points or less. I think Tennessee can cover. I just don't think Florida's good at all. I don't think they're going to be good for a while. And I think Tennessee is licking their chops for this one. I think it's going to be a tough matchup for Florida. So I'm taking Tennessee -7. And for the purposes of this show, I'm going to change mine to 6.5, considering it went down. Why not take the better number on that if you can? So with that being said, that's 3 and 3. What you got next, buddy? And what you think about those?
I want to link up with you on really all these games in some capacity. So Kansas State, we've got a unity at -5. I'm taking Kansas State. If you want to go ahead and hit that soundboard.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There it is.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned Washington and Michigan State. I'm playing the over 57.5 in that game. Um, I really think Washington can put up just about that on their own. And I think Michigan State is going to be able to etch out a few points. So give me the over 57.5. And I've also got Tennessee at -6.5. So you can go ahead and hit that soundboard again for me, please,
All
sir.
right. Yes.
All right. Next up, it's kind of a gutsy call here, but I feel pretty good about it. I'm trying to find this. Okay, 2:35. 2:35 p.m. You got Central Michigan at Notre Dame. I'm taking Notre Dame and the 34.5 points. Now, I know you mentioned Jim McElwain, and you know what he's been able to do with Central Michigan. I just think that Notre Dame is just rolling.
Yeah.
And, I feel pretty good about this 34.5. I mean, I could easily see, I could see this being like a 37-3 game, and them not covering that half is a little bit sketchy, but ultimately, I think that they're going to be able to roll over Central Michigan, and I think that they flex their defensive muscles here a good bit, and I could see this being a more of like a 45-10 sort of game, you know. It's going to be a close one. I'm definitely not like super confident in this, but I think they'll be able to pull it out. Next on my list is Alabama. Um, and okay, so I had two plays and I've decided against one of them. I was going to take the under 61.5. And I'm starting to think against that. So I think I'm going to just play the Alabama -32 over South Florida. So you can go ahead and pencil that one in.
Okay.
And
Alabama -32 on that.
then, yeah, that's what I got.
Okay.
And then that brings me to 3:35. We've got Northwestern and Duke. Northwestern is awful. This is an 18.5 point spread. Northwestern's like the worst team in the FBS, and Duke's a top 25 team. There's just no way. I mean, principal play here in a way is that they're going to score like 45 points probably,
Yeah.
and I think Northwestern's going to score like 13. So I don't know. This to me is like the one I'm most confident in. So give me Duke and -18.5. And I'll stop there and let you kind of catch up. And if you want to comment on any of that, or if you've got another direction to go, let me
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I like that pick. I have Duke also. I got them minus 18.5 at same reasons. Northwestern is just absolutely horrible. One other pick I've got is pretty let's see if I can find it here.
I think the new principle for the rest of the year will be to always to bet against Northwestern, like well, no matter what the spread is.
Yeah, fade Northwestern at all costs.
Yeah.
Uh, where in the world did that game go? I'm looking for the Rutgers game.
Oh,
They're
it's a little bit
playing.
earlier.
Okay, there it is. There it
3:35.
is. Okay, I'm taking Rutgers -7. And Virginia Tech is not good. I mean, they're
Yeah.
just flat out not good. And I actually think Rutgers is halfway decent. I don't think they're bad. I mean, I don't think they're good, but I think this is a halfway decent team. They absolutely spanked the hell out of Northwestern, and I feel like Northwestern and Virginia Tech would be a really good game, don't you? Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that the whatever you call it, the transfer of property. I don't know that necessarily works unanimously in college football or anything, but I like Rutgers over this team. And I like which I should have said it while we had it just pulled up. Where did the Duke game was later in the day, wasn't it?
It's right after Bama.
Where'd it go? Where did it go? Dookie. There you are. 3:35 p.m. I'm taking the I'm taking the I I'm taking the under 48 and a half.
Interesting.
I don't think Northwestern scores. I don't know if they'll score. If they do, they'll score maybe a touchdown.
So you're
Duke's
taking
defense,
both Duke minus 18.5 and the under?
yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. I sure am. 48.5. Uh, almost took the over, and then I got to really thinking about it, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I could see Duke winning this game, 28-7. You know, I could, just like they beat Clemson. I could totally see that. Um, yeah, that's. I'm also going to take Georgia minus 27.5. I don't typically bet Georgia, and I'll disclaimer to all you people watching out there. I'm a Georgia fan. Okay, so take what I say about Georgia with a grain of salt. Now, I feel like I'm pretty objective when it comes to Georgia. I'm typically one of the first people that's jumping on their ass when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, as far as I'm concerned. And um, so just buyer beware. But I like Georgia in this spot. I think South Carolina is pretty daggone bad. I don't think they've figured anything out quite yet with their issues. Probably will later in the season, but at this point, going to Georgia and Kirby Smart's record against these SEC teams that come into Georgia, the average margin of victory is high, and I suspect that this one will be the same way. This is a big spread. I hate betting huge spreads like this, but because so much can happen, and
Yeah.
teams can, you know, I guarantee you, if Georgia's up 28-0 in the fourth quarter for some reason, they'll probably just run it out. I mean, let's just be honest. So, and I'll be sweating, hoping the third string defense don't give up a touchdown or a field goal to South Carolina.
Yeah,
But I'm here for it. I'm going to watch that game anyway and be sweating anyway. So might as well sweat a bet with it.
that's right. And go ahead, and I'm going to lock that up with you. So
Okay.
it'll be a unity.
Yay. Yes, sir.
You
Minus
got another play?
27.5. I'm out.
Okay.
I might add one though. Let's keep going and we'll see what's up.
I got you. I got your Huskies, man. I got your Huskies and Michigan State. Wait, we already talked about this one, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah,
Did
sorry.
I? Yeah, I got your bet right here.
All right. Yeah, sorry. It was further down my list just based on the time. And we already talked about Tennessee minus 6.5. I've got Pitt over West Virginia. This is a game we talked about in the last show. It's only a 1-point spread. It's a 7:35 game. So give me Pitt and minus 1 point. I think I think they'll win the game at least. So basically a pick 'em, and I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no positive money on the money line on that game.
Yeah.
Minus 115 for Pitt, minus 105 for West Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a trip. Interesting. I like that pick. I say interesting because I'm mulling it over.
Yeah.
And I ain't talking Dan. What else you got? Is that it for you?
I've got one more before we get to our money lines, and that's going to be Oregon. I got this at 37.5. It has moved to 38 now. At 8:05, you've got Hawaii at Oregon, and I'm betting that Oregon will cover the 37.5. Is what I got it at.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. And so now that brings us to and I like that pick, by the way. They're going to absolutely mash the hell out of Hawaii. Hawaii's pretty bad. Stanford beat Hawaii. Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be like 45-3. So, and
yeah,
it might be worse than that, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So for my money line pick, I am somebody that I've been fading all year and somebody that we reviewed pretty heavily because they entered the Big 12 this year. Um, I'm taking Houston.
Mm,
Uh, they're hosting TCU at their place at 8:05 p.m.
okay.
Houston is better than what we thought. Vegas has not caught up with this. Nobody's paying attention to Houston whatsoever. Nobody's paying attention to TCU now because of the loss to Colorado, and they're writing them off. And I don't think TCU is very good. I'm just as a disclaimer, I don't think they're very good, and I don't think Houston is some kind of awesome team either. But at plus 235, Vegas is telling me there's a chance. And at home, I'm going to take the home dog on a night game. Um, that I think the Houston Cougars will be excited for, um, and they're going to be wanting to take it to TCU across the state over there. Um, so give me Houston, give me the plus 235. There's my money line pick for the week.
Gotcha. I had a money line pick, and I just realized I just went to it. I had UConn over FIU, and I realized UConn is actually the one favorite in that game, not FIU. So, of
Mm.
course, I was feeling really good about that. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to go the opposite direction here, and I am going to go somewhere that you went in your bets here. And I really like your pick, by the way. I definitely considered that, but just to add a little bit of variety, I'm going to actually go with Virginia Tech over Rutgers. Um, this is
Okay.
I don't feel great about it. This is kind of like you're putting my feet to the fire and making me squeal here a little bit, um, but yeah, I think I just think that maybe they find a way to kind of dig deep and uh, pull one out. And Rutgers isn't very good. I could see a turnover deciding the game. A pick six deciding the game or something like that. So I think
Yeah.
it was only a 6.5 point spread. Is that right?
7.
Was it 7? Okay, so touchdown spread. They could end up pushing at the end of the day, but yeah. So, I think that Virginia Tech could still end up winning. Even with a push. So,
Yeah.
that's where I'm going to go with that. And there's just man, the money line is really tough to pick this week. I think Houston over TCU is the better bet. But just to add a little bit of variety, I think that's one that you could probably go get and feel pretty good about on the money line.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. And for the matchups to not be that great this week, we had no shortage of picks. That's the most picks that we've had yet. And I'd probably expect um, there's not as many good marquee games, but I think the overall level of competition is a little better this week actually, but there's just no big games. There's no huge games. You're starting to see some conference matchups and things like that and some rivalry games. So very interesting stuff there. I've got all our numbers written down right here. That's going to be the Between the Lines show for today. Anybody who's watching today, I want you to go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. You're here because you want to talk about lines, and we're going to do it once a week. So come do it with us. We're on a roll. We're 15-10 this year. We'll see what we do after this week. This is a bunch of bets here, and um, I'm going to go actually put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to put some money on all these games, and we'll let it ride, and we'll see what's going on this weekend for week 3. Thank everybody so much for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe, and we will see you next week. Thank you, Mason.
Thank you. Have a good night.